Kershaw County, South Carolina, is the home of old McCaskills Farms. Now, it started out with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's really turned into a diversified, sustainable farm. Kathy, I know you pride yourself in your animals. Specifically, you don't use any antibiotics, and that's really important to a lot of people who are looking for meat that's antibiotic-free.
Yes, they are pasture raised and no medications, no vaccinations, and the feed as well. I have ground. It's the corn, soybean, cottonseed meal, and that's what they're fed. And there's no additives, no hormones or antibiotics to that.
Well, you're involved with a unique project. I understand you're using chicory, but you aren't using chicory to make coffee. Tell us why chicory is on the old McCaskills farm.
Well, in conjunction with Clemson, they did a study, and we're doing this together to see if chicory would be an alternative grazing as far as controlling the parasites. There's the tannins in the chicories that also helps, but they gained on average more weight, and if I can keep them grazing high enough, won't even have to worm them. And if we can do the rotational grazing between that and the chicory, I won't even have to do that.
And it's good that you have one of your local veterinarians. They kind of check the fecal material to make sure that the parasite number's down, and if this chicory works out, could be a whole new way of controlling parasites for sheep in South Carolina.
That is the idea. That's the idea. We check our animals, the FAMACHA, where you check the eyelids and the degree of the redness, and according to that, we only selectively worm the ones that need it. And like you say, if the chicory works, then we won't even have to do that.
I know everyone's interested in the dogs you have because these dogs bring the sheep into the barn right before they get sheared, and it appears they really know what they're doing. What kind of dogs are they?
They're border collies, and they kind of have their own instinct, and they know exactly what to do, and they just know that they need to bring the animals to you, and they balance and work them up. It's just an instinct in them.
Well, your sheep get one good haircut a year, and it looks like to me they've been at Paris Island Marine Base down in Beaufort when you get through with them, because they really get a crew cut.
They do.
Now, when the shearer takes the wool off, about how much wool do you get off one of these sheep?
A good pelt a good fleece should yield about 10 pounds, and then I have blankets of all sizes, from a lap blanket all the way up to a queen, made out of them, and beautiful washable blankets.
So these blankets are actually derived from wool that come from old McCaskills Farms in Kershaw County.
Yes, yes.
And that shearer, when he really goes across the top of that sheaf, it looks like that wool just opens up.
Oh, he can take it and look like you just had a zipper on the bottom and just lay it out, and the whole thing sitting there. Yeah.
You've got some goats, and I know a lot of people get more and more interested each year in goat meat. Tell us about these two breeds that you have, and why are they best for goats in South Carolina in terms of meat production?
Well, I kind of have a smorgasbord. I have the Boers, the Briars, and Nubians. Nubians are your milk goats, but everything here just happened here. But the Boer is the one that is the meat goat. They're more muscular. They're more chunkier goat, and those are the ones that people really like to use for the meat.
Every farm in South Carolina years ago had lots of chickens, and it looked like Kathy McCaskill is maintaining that tradition.
I'm trying.
The birds everywhere, Kathy. What are you doing with all these chickens?
Oh, I just love the chickens. The chickens are just the thing. There's just something about a farm and chickens that are there. But the eggs are so much better, and the same thing with the feed with the chickens. There's nothing in that as well.
But you've got some birds confined in a house, and I understand this house moves around in the pasture. Now, why do you move it around?
Move it around to give it new ground. I can't let them free range because of the predator problem. So we move this thing around, on occasion when they exhaust the ground beneath it, and it's just as if they were free range. They get new ground.
And there's no antibiotics in the chickens either?
No, there's no antibiotics. Their feed is ground for them as well, with the added fish emulsion for the eggs. But yeah, I have their feed made as well, so there's no medications in it either.
You've got an incubator, and this incubator, I imagine, produces a lot of biddies each year, doesn't it?
Yes, that incubator will hold 200 eggs at a time, and it only takes 21 days for an egg to hatch out, and I have them at all different stages. Yeah.
Well, when we talk about agritourism in South Carolina, I'm proud to say that McCaskills Farms is participating in it, because I understand you have a bed and breakfast, and when people participate with your bed and breakfast, they actually participate on a lot of these farm activities, don't they?
That's right. We're trying to get it up and running, and yes, they can actually work on the farm if they'd like to, or not, just watch the animals and enjoy them. But then the breakfast will be, you know, the pork sausage and the eggs from Old McCaskill Farm the next morning.
Well, I know you travel around South Carolina. I understand you participate in the farmers market in Camden and also one over at Sand Hill. I imagine it's exciting seeing all the people around South Carolina, because not many people realize that agriculture in South Carolina is really becoming somewhat confined, because we're specializing in locally produced products now.
Yes, yes, a lot of people. The markets that I go to, the people are so appreciative to know that their food, mine, you know, for the Kershaw County one, is just 5 miles away. You know, they can ride by and see, you know, what the animals and how they're cared for. And the local move has been really, really important to the people.
Kathy, I smell something cooking on that grill. What's your husband got on it?
He's got some lamb chops going, and the lamb chop, and then he's got some goat burger and some goat stew, and then he's got the garlic brats and some pork chops, all raised here.
Well, before we visit him, I know we've got some individuals that'd like to contact you about Old McCaskill Farm. You're busy all during the day out in the field, but how can they reach you?
Well, I have an email that's oldmccaskills with an S farm@gmail.com, and also they can give a call, leave a message, because I'm not in the house a lot, 803-432-9537.
Well, thank you for letting Team Making It Grow visit with you, and we certainly congratulate you for really improving the sustainable practices we have in agriculture in South Carolina.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoy it.
Let's go get a bite to eat.
Okay, let's do it.